Welcome back to Conversations with Nation, a podcast I created to have honest conversations about the things we all go through but don't often share. This is episode 10, which means this is the season 2 finale episode of Conversations with Nation. I did want to start by just saying thank you to every single person who liked, shared, subscribed, listened, watched, all of the options this season. There's so much nervousness that goes into creating a second season and hoping that it gets better than the first one, or at least matches it, or you don't disappoint. So thank you guys so much. The numbers went up this season. So thank you for that. And in this finale episode, I decided it was a good idea to check back in and bring on various artists over the last 2 seasons and get the opportunity to talk to them about the last season of their life that they'll get to define, and talk about the lessons they've learned, the wisdom that they've gained, and then also get to share a little bit myself at the end. So we've got 4 people that have come on for this finale episode. So I really hope you guys all enjoy, and let's get started.
Let me turn this.
Yay!
God, I haven't done a recording since Sage was born.
I've been off the interwebs for the baby.
That's
funny. So this one we got my girl who started it off. My very first interview of the entire pod, which is with the beautiful queen over there, Queen Mother, you know what I'm saying? Dominique Drakeford.
Oh, come through, Queen Mama.
Yes. And on below in that bottom tiny left corner is our first tribe baby.
Yeah.
Baby
attempting to take a nap. We'll see if he stays quiet through the whole session.
Oh, you can talk if you want to, nephew. That is the first baby of our tribe. That's our little bro. He got a lot of aunties ready to ride. Bro.
Got a lot of aunties.
Ready to ride.
Sounds like spoilment to me.
Sounds about accurate.
Right.
Oh, I'm so excited. We're about to be out there in a month. Ready to.
In a month. I
love all
cannot wait to see y'all. Crazy. I didn't see you through my whole pregnancy. Physically, I didn't physically see y'all.
Man,
it should be good.
And we're gonna let y'all kick y'all feet up and take a nap too, because y'all.
I know that's right. Yes. Yes.
Be like, hey, we're about to just go outside real quick.
Yes.
So, come on,
the congregation says amen.
Right.
Nap if necessary.
Let the church say yes. No.
Word.
So I have been circling back and having a conversation with about 5 or 6 guests and asking the question, what has this season of life taught you? And I know that you've probably learned a whole lot.
Word. Man, I feel like that is such a loaded cosmic question. I would say the first thing that I learned is along the lines of patience, but more intentionally how to let go from a very spiritual perspective, especially with the process of giving birth at home and being 2 weeks late. I actually had to learn how to let go and let flow, which is hard for me as a Leo, who's always taken a very aggressive leadership role in my personal development life, in my community space, just at home. I had to free myself of being in charge of my body to a certain degree. I had to free myself of being in charge of how this little human wanted to flow out and when he wanted to flow out into this world. And just, I mean, I won't go into the whole process of my home birth, but there were so many stages that I had to go through where I had to really trust not only in myself, but trust that just that my ancestors and the universe was going to do what they had to do. And I had to step out of the way a little bit, which was an interesting experience for me and was a deeply spiritual experience for me. So that would be one thing. Do I keep
it's up to you. You can say as much or as little as you want. Go ahead.
And then I would just you got
gems to drop, honey. Drop them all.
And then I would say another thing that I learned, which was also through the birth experience, was just the power of collaboration. You know, as a community advocate, as somebody who collaborates with a lot of people in a lot of different spheres on a business level, it was really interesting to collaborate with my womb, which was like, which I don't think most people think of it as a collaboration, right? So collaborating with my womb, collaborating with the all POC Black and brown birth workers that were in my home, it was beautiful. So I learned a different way to collaborate, which again speaks to intuition, which again also speaks to just the spiritual aspect of having a low intervention birth, and you know, how you communicate with self and those who are helping you. Some very different shit that very fucking different than your average, let's sit at a table around this graph and collaborate on this project.
Yep.
So that form of collaboration, and I think it's even important for us to call that a collaboration when we're giving birth or in the birthing process. I think it's important to use that language. And so, yeah, I would say letting go and the power of collaboration are two important things that have hit me hard this season.
Okay. And then my last thing too is, what have you found most beautiful or most fruitful in this season of your life?
Like, y'all gonna get tired of me talking about my damn home birth, but I would obviously, I feel like the birth of Sage is the very obvious answer, but to take it a step deeper, I would even say the process of how he was brought into this realm, which I think it was a very divine formation that speaks to who he is and who he's going to become. So, I mean, I guess I could speak very, very, very quickly about the process. I was 2 weeks late. I was 2 weeks. Okay. I was 2 weeks late. And of course, you know, when you're 2 weeks late and everybody in the world knows that you're 2 weeks late, you're getting blown up about being 2 weeks late. Like, where the fuck is my nephew?
He's like, where
from
you
like
good?
all parts of the globe. So yeah, being 2 weeks late, and by the time my water did break, the positioning of his head was in a wacky space that caused nerve pain that shot up and down my leg for my 30 hours of active labor. Mind you, before that, I was in 6 days of inactive labor, meaning I felt real ass contractions for 6 days that went from maybe 10 minutes apart all the way to 4 minutes apart, but they were consistent. They never stopped. So trying to like heal myself and motivate myself and, rest through 6 days of contractions in preparation for the big showdown was a process. So by the time my water broke and it was time for active labor, I had to deal with the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my whole life, which was the nerve pain that struck me after every contraction during the 30-hour process. And so up until the point where I dilated to 10 centimeters, it was a journey, a true collaboration that took nourishment from everybody, including myself. And it took a lot of me talking and communicating with Sage in different ways. And then I had my water birth, grateful that I did not tear, which is something that happens quite often, especially for your first baby, and especially when they're damn near 9 pounds. I did not tear, but my placenta cord did break, and so my midwife had to like snatch my placenta out of my let me not be graphic. My midwife had to snatch my placenta from inside me because it got stuck. And then I dealt with some fainting spells after everything was said and done because of just 7 days of exhaustion. Yeah, like pure exhaustion. Vitals were good. Everything was good. It was just pure exhaustion. And so when I think back at when everything was happening, it was so intense, but there comes a point when, and mind you, I didn't have anything to numb pain or anything. So it was completely low intervention and very raw, like brown sugar, you feel me? Raw brown sugar is what it was. So when I think back at the journey, like, yes, it was intense. And sometimes when I tell people the story, they're just like, I can't believe it. But you realize that there's so much beauty and strength in the process. Mm-hmm. And you realize how fucking dope you are when you're able to go through each milestone. Like, okay, I got an IV. I hate needles, but I crossed that bridge and I made it. Okay, I'm breathing through this contraction. That means we made it. You know what I mean? It's like you get to pick apart the beauty of the process, and I think sometimes we take for granted how amazing the process is. So I'm here for looking back at the journey of how we get to where we get to, and embracing and showing love to every aspect of being throughout the journey. So yeah, and to answer your question.
Getting on the other side and realizing, yeah, I don't think anybody can ever tell me shit.
And then, oh yeah, let me not forever forget that part. Like coming through on the other side, and for real, like nobody can tell me shit. Nobody can tell me shit. Like
I didn't hear nothing.
Nobody. I can't. You can't. You just can't. And so the energy I have, I walk around with a whole different attitude and a whole different perspective on life because I did that shit. You feel me? So yeah.
She sips her bottle.
Right.
Throw it back. No. Oh, that's so dope.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry. Yeah. I'm just all smiles because I'm like, one girl did that shit, bro.
Yeah. It says, hopefully inspire other folks to attempt to do that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, especially Black women. Like, we are literally pure magic, and it showed time and time and time again through the birthing process and the afterbirth. Let's not forget, there's a whole postpartum chapter. So yeah,
I want to do a doc on postpartum for women of color, because I'm like, I've heard such a myriad of things that I go like, why does nobody talk about this? Like, I feel like we missing a lot of information that's important prior to the birth. Like,
surprisingly so taboo to talk about postpartum, especially the challenges of postpartum. Yeah. Our parents' generation, it wasn't something that was instilled in us when birthing conversations are discussed.
Yeah. And the whole, like, I've heard people talk about just like the mourning, them like mourning themselves.
Yeah. Part of you dies. I don't think, and not to sound really, morbid, but part of you actually dies.
I had never heard about that until I had a convo with somebody about postpartum, and she was like, yeah, like, you sitting here wondering what's going on. She's like, I was literally mourning myself.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, we gotta talk about this.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's real, and it takes a lot of internal and possibly external work to get over that death of your old self, because you're never gonna have that again. So
whew, that's scary.
it is a scary thing. It is a scary thing, but I think it's going to be super dope and super beautiful to really have more of these nuanced conversations about birth, so that it's less scary for folks when they're birthing or after the process, so that they can somewhat prepare, whether that's through journaling, whether they have, postpartum appointments set up, whether, their partner needs to have, workshops in advance. I think it's just going to be beautiful to have this documentary, so that a lot of us are more informed. Of course, you can never fully be prepared, like, ever. I don't care how many affirmation fucking flashcards you look at, because I was like, oh yeah, I got this. But it did help to it definitely it definitely helped to have, I think, the stories and the narratives from other folks who had home births, especially Black women. It did help ease the transition. And the more we talk about it, and the more that we have real ass, I don't like, not sugar-coated conversations, but real ass conversations about it, I think the more we will be able to learn and potentially heal through it. So, so yeah.
Aww. Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you for coming back. A little season 2.
Anytime.
Season 2, come back.
Anytime. I see you. Only for you, Nation Burger. Only for you.
Thank you. And we've got Black Jesus himself, Mr. Lawrence from Meet the Brave podcast, and also the episode on ego and programming, which I think you got the highest streams this season.
Hey, fuck with me. Appreciate y'all.
Thus far, because it probably will be though.
Yeah, people are fickle, so they'll find something else to mess with.
Right. Somebody will get one more than you just cause.
Yeah, it'll be like a personal thing. Somebody will listen over and over and over.
That's hella funny. So, as I will be asking everybody, what have you learned in this season of your life? And you can also identify what this season means to you as far as like time-wise.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we kind of just talked about it off camera, but not off the actual pod itself. But this season has been really just about enlightenment and getting more information. Really trying to get a grasp on our background as Black people, our position in life, a lot of the lies that were told to us. So now just understanding and coming to it and coming from a different angle where you're not so perturbed from like everything that's taking place or why your upbringing was what it was, but more so life in general, taking it all in, like everything that transpired and like making something beautiful out of it. So I think that's been what this season has mostly showed to me, is just that I know that I'm very conditioned, but what do I do with my conditioning? So I think that's what has really transpired for me, is like there's a lot to do, and I think this is the information age, so I'm enjoying that part.
Okay. Can I also ask? We might edit this, we might not, I don't know.
Yeah.
What has been the most like either beautiful or fruitful thing of this season of your life?
The most beautiful thing has definitely been the ability to think outside the box and understand that what I'm doing right now isn't what I was meant to do, and or what I want, or what I'm going to do for much longer. So I think that was like the most beautiful thing that I came across, because you go through these phases, and there's a phase that you hit where you have everything that you need and want, but it's not providing anything extra to you or for you. Like, yes, you're able to take care of people that you love. Yes, you're able to take care of yourself, of course, and you're able to take care of other people. But that there's a point where you realize that even in taking care of others, you can't take care of everyone, and there's always more needing for everyone. You know what I mean? So like knowing that, oh, there is like a tap out, like it doesn't matter like how much you're making, like people will always need more. And what about yourself? Like, what do you need? You know what I mean? And I think that's what really showed when I got to that point, when I was able to do some of the things that I said that I wanted to do. It's like once I got to that point, it was like, okay, what's next? Or what's more? And what's more than that? So I think that's where I'm at right now. That's what's the most beautiful thing to me, is just knowing that there's another stage and I know what it is. I think that's the beauty of it.
That's dope. I think, is it the knowing what it is that also like
yeah, that was like the icing,
yeah.
Like and the cool thing is also that it doesn't have to be one thing, but you just have to be really passionate or enjoy something. And I knew damn well it wasn't what I was doing right now. I know I didn't enjoy that shit. Like people get on my damn nerves about that much. Every day I'm just like, y'all real lucky, yo. Not that I'm saved or anything. Like I ain't got none of that.
I was just about to say, y'all lucky I found the Lord. But
yeah, like I ain't got no piece of that in me, so that ain't what saved y'all.
Y'all lucky I'm getting enlightened, because
that's it. That's all. Like y'all lucky that I have like I have something else that my focus is on. But I think it's just that I got so many different things that really caught my attention, and I feel there's more of a gravitational pull that way. So the funny thing, I was just talking about this with my cousin, but it's hilarious actually that once that did transpire in my brain, and all these things start like coming together, that makes it like, oh shoot, like this is where I'm actually supposed to be going, and I have to travel with that current. It was funny because as I was doing that, all of the things that I was like that would have been like at the top of my list before, they started coming in as well, and they were trying to pull me out of like in another direction, back into where I was already at. just a better position in where I was already at, but it's stagnant, you know what I'm saying? So it's just funny, like how, and that's for anybody that has like, you know, dreams or aspirations or anything like that. Just pay attention to once you do make a decision, how many things, like how your current moves, and then how many things that you thought you loved or wanted to do starts to seep in and starts like actually becoming available. And it's going to test you on like, are you really about this life? You know, are you really about, you know, doing things for yourself as opposed to just trying to be comfortable, you know? So I think that was very interesting.
Oh, yay. See, pull a
Yeah.
little more out of that. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Lord. All right. And we have the beautiful BC. Hey, from our episode of Black in Medicine, which was very, very well received, by the way. Thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? People was fucking with it.
I appreciate it, y'all. I
Appreciate you. So as I'm asking everybody else, you know what I'm saying? The question to you is, what has this season of life taught you?
The past 2 years, this year.
However you want the season to be.
What part of life are you talking about?
Whatever you want this season to mean.
Okay. So you want me to cry?
Shit, it could be the last like 3 months.
Okay.
You said you answered the question, bro. We talked about this when I was in Atlanta. You're like, oh, I'll do that. Like, that's not even
but you know, literally it goes swink, swink, and I go to sleep and I forgot that you even
now
asked.
I'm here, you like, bitch, why you asking me these questions on camera?
Okay. I'm gonna get it together. So I probably wasn't hit with what life feels like in real life until 2019 when I lost my mother. I don't think I paid attention to a lot of stuff, like just real life emotions, family, what people mean to you, how fucking short life is. Like, and how you're here today and maybe gone tomorrow. And what if I didn't say everything I wanted to say to you? So the past 2 years with the pandemic didn't help. But I guess I would say I quickly realized how short life is, how precious it is, and how to try to live in the moment. And I still need to work on this, but doing better at telling the people that care about me, that care to me, like telling the people I care about that I care about, fuck it, whatever. You got what I'm saying. You figured it out. But yeah, so that today in the moment feel. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. And then the pandemic, seeing how many lives we've lost and losing lives myself at work. It was the moment, living in the moment. However, going through the experience of losing my mom, I feel like I was able to help those people in the hospital when they were going through the same thing, and they didn't know how to understand it or how to treat it. And the one thing I feel like I always told them was just like, be a family as much as you can. This bickering, you guys are arguing right now, and this person is, not, like, it's just to be in the moment, be family, love. What would that person want you to do? How would they want you to live? And that also comes on to mental health. That is, I've always known it was important, but until it hits you, until it affects you, you don't know how it really feels. You could always tell somebody that, oh, I know, yeah, mental health is important, and you should be, work on that and make sure you do what you have to do so that you are in a safe, happy place as best as you can. But until you really have to try to make it find that happy place, you don't know what that experience is like. And so, yeah, I guess that's the season of life, because I feel like I'm still currently in that season. What is it, the 5 stages of grieving?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they go like this. You get to number 2, you get to number 3, and you're like, fuck, I'm starting back over at number 1. Like, I will never get to 5.
And then you get to 5, and on the next day, why am I feeling like a 1? I just got to 5.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's what this season has taught me, is to live in the moment, to be grateful for what you have, to appreciate what you have, and realize that life is short and not guaranteed. Because I guarantee you, Brittny, I didn't think any of this could happen to me. And that's weird to say.
Yeah.
It's so weird to say, but I had never lost anyone so close to me that I was sincerely affected by. That was, a part of my everyday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know what it felt like when someone lost a family member. And of course I would reach out and be supportive, but then I guess I also didn't really realize that I probably wasn't maybe being supportive. Maybe I was saying the wrong things, or maybe I didn't say the right, maybe I should have just left them alone, but I didn't think that I could lose anybody. And that's so weird to say. I guess that part of life, I guess I thought I was invincible. Like, I still have to have kids and get married, and I don't have my, my number 1, my best friend with me. So it's weird. It's weird to have to come to realization about that.
That reminds me of that conversation we had when I was out in Atlanta. We were in your backyard, and I was just like, life be lifing. I was just like, some days you just be like, life be whooping my ass.
Absolutely.
You just be like, why are people arguing about stupid shit? Life will really whoop your ass. So
like that's not important. Like, come on.
None of that shit is important.
It's not important.
I also have told people before that I'm like, I think one of the things that I've valued about you in this experience is it's helped me learn how to be there for somebody who is grieving and not constantly feel uncomfortable. Like, and that's not a testament to me. Like, you're listening, that's not like, because I'm so great at this. That's a testament to the person that allowed you in their space while they were grieving, and how they allowed you to show up, and how they allowed you to fumble around and be human and not know what to do, and like still keep making space for you so that you begin to get comfortable and know how to be in it. Because I just feel like when people are grieving, like, it's on the outside in, it's like, how do I show up? And people are hella uncomfortable, but I also like, don't look at that person and be like, watch me fuck around and not know how to show up for you. I'm a human and I feel weird. But while you're hurting so bad, give me a bunch of grace. Like, but I think that speaks to a lot of who you are, just to give somebody the grace to figure out how to try to show up as best they can. And I feel like that's a skill that like became a skill at some point, that I was like, oh, I've learned how to do this now with her, like, because she's allowed me the space to do so. And I was like, damn. Then that made me go like, damn, she a real fucking G out here, bro. Shut up. The motherfucking OG, like, damn. I'm out here getting Mr. Miyagi.
But no, you're very right, because there's times where I could just, I guess it's my comfort. You become your family, like, you ain't no friend, you are family. But
my nigga.
being able to be vulnerable with you, I don't think we've been So from Cal Poly on, our vulnerability was me possibly failing a class. Like, you know, like that wasn't like that compared to this, it means nothing. So being able to be vulnerable and possibly just sit in silence with you and or let my tears roll, and you know that you don't have to really necessarily do anything, just let me let it out, you know. And so I appreciate that a lot. And not everybody knows how to do that. And you're right, it's a weird area to have to be in. I don't think I've ever had to do it as appropriately as I maybe do now in the past, but I think with my experience, I'm able to appropriately do that with people now. Yeah, no, you are very right. Absolutely.
Sit there and do nothing sometimes.
Just do, just be.
Ain't got to do a damn thing. You know
just be. Yeah.
And that's hard because you always want to, like, when you love somebody, you want to fix it.
Absolutely.
And especially as women, like, God, we love to fix some shit. we
if
love to
I'm not
fix
fixing
emotional shit.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Why we gotta fix you on the emotional level, and to learn to be like, it's not for me to fix, but it is for me to be here and to get comfortable with that. Cause life be lifing, bro.
Listen, when I tell you I had it good and didn't realize, and I'm getting my ass kicked right now.
Yo.
Why? Like how, like why does it have to hit so hard? So like back to back, like, you know, give me one and then let me be. Like, go find somebody else. Like, give me a break. But you came at me a couple times in a row. Like, I better be left alone. I gotta say, they better leave me alone.
I'm saying,
Put my motherfucking time
I'm
in.
off the clock, right? I'm off the clock.
Leave me alone.
I need a solid decade of off the clock. I'll let me in 10 years. We could talk again about life, but I'm off the clock, please.
I don't want a life right now.
Nope.
I don't want a life.
And the rest of this shit better act right. I know that. My family better be all right. My money better be right. My relationship better. Y'all motherfuckers better get in line because I got 10 years off.
Get it together, okay?
I'll see y'all in 10. Y'all can fuck up in 10 years, but until then,
just sit down somewhere.
Sit your ass down somewhere. I need a break.
Absolutely.
No, I feel that. So that leads into the next question, which is...
You didn't tell me about this one.
I know. I haven't told any of them about this one. Love ya. What has been, you can answer it one of two ways. What has been fruitful in this season of your life, or what is something that you are very grateful for? I know those are two different questions. I'm not saying they're the same, but I am saying you can choose which one to answer.
But when you say fruitful, you mean I got all the coins?
That's not what I meant for you to say on here, because I don't actually be trying to pocket much. But I mean, if you try to bang on niggas, bang on niggas. You know what I'm saying? If you try to stunt, nigga, flex on that shit. I ain't mad. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean that, but since we here, you know what I'm saying? A bitch got orchways is all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Bitch got 85 doors in her house. Is what
she only counted 5, y'all.
I got to 17 is all I'm saying.
Shut up.
I for sure got to 17.
No,
and I stopped counting because you distracted me with snacks.
Anyways. Wait, what was the second question?
Or what is something you're very grateful for?
As much of a headache that it gives me, I am grateful for my career. It gives me all the emotions and feels, and it makes me, I don't like feeling how I be feeling sometimes. Like I didn't know this feeling existed. But I have the opportunity to be available to people in their worst times.
Mhm.
I don't know why we gotta fix everything, why I gotta be like that. That's part of the like why I gotta fix you type thing. But
Aquarius.
being hospitalized is probably the scariest thing that you can ever experience. No one wants that. It's not the Ritz-Carlton. It ain't the West End, y'all. This isn't the best Holiday Inn executive suite. Like these are not. It's not a hotel to come to. Okay,
Yeah.
don't come check in on purpose. Like you're not checking in on purpose. So being able to be available, and pour into them in any way that I can, whether it just, so as a nurse, I'm not just, it's nurse equals therapist, communicator, healer, all kinds of things. So I feel like I need a degree for to give therapy because I'm gonna put that on my resume. I'm a therapist with no degree in that.
But I'm good though. I'm
good. I got this.
I know what I'm talking about.
They will share their most vulnerable times with you, and to be there to listen, to be there to just be how you just be being with me. I'm grateful I have the opportunity, the energy, and the space to do that. Now, I wish I had that space for myself, but that's a different story. I gotta learn how to bring that back to me is what I'm working on. That's tough, but being able to be there and care and give while those are for those in need, I think I'm grateful for that. I think that it's way more fulfilling than I probably articulate or make aware. It is very fulfilling. It is very draining. Sometimes I come home and I feel like I was just defeated and I didn't do anything to help. And there's days I come home and I can't wait to get back to see that person because I just to see their progress and to know that they're doing well and puts a smile on my face. You know, so I don't think I probably complain more than anything because I just be getting mad. I'm not mad at
about our jobs.
Yeah. Like I'm not mad at the people. Sometimes I'm mad at the people, but I'm not mad necessarily like them. I might be just mad. I'm mad at the system. It's a system that I'm mad at. A system fails all of us in so many ways, from being the provider to being the patient. So that's a whole 3-part book, Harry Potter series. But yeah, it fulfills me a lot. So I'm grateful to be able to be fulfilled and to fulfill. Now about that fruitful question, I was kidding.
Hey, a whole lot of money in it. You know what I mean? Hey, it's a whole lot of hey. I'm just playing. I'm not gonna put that. So I'm gonna go out your coinage.
Oh, the coinage of
these ducats and shillings shall overfloweth from the tree of life. You know what I'm saying? I told the rest of life, bitch, you better let up because I ain't got much more left in me. So
listen, give me a break. Give me like a decade. I mean, minimum.
All right, Booski. Oh, let me actually stop this. It's a go. Yee. So we also have Papa Nation up in this thing. Hi, Dad.
Hey, Britt. What's up, girly girl?
How you doing?
Wonderful as always. You know me, every day above ground is a good day, right? So
you know, and then life is tough and then you die.
life's tough, then you die. So no sense complaining. Deal with it, move on, right?
Yo,
how you doing out there in the heat? Is it?
It's not bad. I only went outside like twice today. I've been working, so, and one of them was to like go pick up food I got delivered. I'm very
millennial-ish at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
But doing pretty good, actually. Feeling a little busy because I fly out to New York tomorrow. So I know. And then I'm done.
I'm
So.
not gonna say it. I am not gonna say it.
I know. I be stressing myself out and then be like, dang, why I'm stressed. Don't call me my mother's child. Don't you dare.
I'm not gonna say it.
Don't you dare.
You already know it, so I don't have to say it.
So
I don't want to be the guy that piles on or says I told you so.
I mean, that's literally what you're doing, but I don't want to be that dude that tell you I told you so. So I'm not gonna say it, but
right.
So as you know, I have been asking a couple of key people I pulled from my last 2 seasons the question of what has this season of your life taught you?
I had to stop and think about that for a hot second. But for the space that I'm in right now, I have been going through for the past, 6 months, 9 months, whatever, is really creating and maintaining margin in my life right now. That's the season and the space I'm in. Just a lot going on. As you know, we haven't work done on the house, and it's one project after another, getting stuff done.
Can you explain what you mean by margin, please?
Yeah. For me, margin is that space to just relax. It is both a mental and emotional space where I like to think of it as having this space where my brain can just exhale and my emotions can breathe. And that's how I define it. That space just to be able to really chill. And me, I'm really task oriented. And I've always said, I like to have a good cigar, and sitting down, having a good cigar makes me stop and slow down. The problem, though, is that becomes a task in itself. Having this cigar to make me stop and slow down instead of stopping and slowing down, giving myself permission to do nothing, to be unproductive in a sense in this moment, and just enjoy that cigar. And that's what I mean by creating that margin to let. I heard this interesting, there's some TV commercial, and one of the first lines in the commercial, they're trying to be funny, is one of the first lines is, if you enjoy wasting time, then is it a waste? And that's kind of it, creating that margin, those spaces, that margin and spaces where we can just relax, do whatever, do nothing, and get your mind off of all the other stuff that life brings. And chill.
Does it stress you out when you chill and you feel like you should be tasking?
Yes. When we go on vacation, when we go away, it takes me 4 days before I can unwind and let go.
We don't be on vacation that long.
Right. Exactly.
Like, hold up.
So unless I so if we just go somewhere for the weekend, I'm not going to unwind. It have to be there for a week so I can get in a couple of good days.
Do you know where that stems from? The need to always be doing something?
No, not yet. I'm on the road of discovery trying to figure that out. But yeah, no, I don't know yet.
Okay. And I ask a follow-up question. So what has been what in this season, what has been most fruitful, or something that you're grateful for? However you want to tackle that question.
It's fruitful and something, because those are two different answers.
Yeah, I said or. You can do either one. Or you could do both, or you could do whatever Steve Nation is going to do, because that's what's going to happen at the end of the day anyway. He going to do what he going to do. I don't have to say over none of this.
This is true. Yes. Just move on, live my life. Just don't worry about the rest. I think as in all seasons, the thing that I am most grateful for are the relationships, being able to spend time with the people that you love and the people that love you.
Me.
Yeah, that includes you too.
Your favorite youngest child. I'll
Yeah,
phrase
my
it
favorite
so,
baby girl. There you
so
go.
we don't gotta have the other ones be, jealous, but
Well, my favorite baby girl. That's how we leave it specific, right?
we know what's up.
But those are those are the things that are the most valuable and most important to me. So the times when we have family get-togethers, we had a family picnic for Labor Day. That was just a blast as well to hang out. Going to my best friend's wife's birthday party and just hanging out with his entire family. We grew up together, so I know all of them and everything. So those kind of things are the things that are I value the most, that are most important. As you get older, that becomes the thing. All the other stuff, want to be in the midst of what's happening, what's popping, what's going on, that kind of faces aside and your values change. So that's really it for me.
Can you tell me why? Have you ever thought about why, as you get older, like all of that stuff begins to fade, other than like just being tired?
That's number one.
Sometimes I just be tired and I need a seat. You know what I'm saying? But can you give any kind of wisdom to like why focus typically changes and perspective typically changes with age?
Right. It happens around 40. You hear people say all the time, life begins at 40. Once you get over 40, then you start understanding. And so you've lived long enough to begin to distinguish what part of life is just a bunch of crap. Was that too strong? I probably shouldn't have said it that way. But what part of life is just
you're not too strong, bro.
Right. Cute. Well, yeah. Well, I don't have my collar on, but I wear that virtual clergy collar all the time.
It's not too strong for the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We know Reverend Hennessy will come close to the line, right? Pastor
I'm
Hennessy
about to get you a shirt called Deacon Hennessy.
No, it got to be Pastor Hennessy.
You're right. You're right. You better than these deacons. Your Majesty.
Your Majesty. There you go.
Get these deacons out here. They better get you your chalice. I know that.
Get the chalice, right? With the foil. I want the
foil
foil
on top of the cup. You know what I'm saying? Get my drink.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right.
How am I supposed to speak the Lord's words with a dry throat? Get it together, y'all.
I can't be preaching and clearing my throat at the same time.
Right?
Actually, they do that, right? That's what all that stuff is, clearing the throat while we preach. So, but once you get over 40, you just start realizing that you don't have to be in the midst of everything. You don't have to run to the drama that everyone else brings into life and stuff. And just begin to realize I don't really have to do all of that stuff. I don't need to be there. And it becomes less appealing because your values begin to change. The important things become important. Whereas going out to the club, partying, hanging out, to whatever's popping off at the lake or at the whatever.
COVID?
No. Yeah.
That's what's popping off
being
at the
around
lake
the people
right
you
there.
love. Say again.
I said that's what's popping off at the lake, COVID.
COVID. Yeah, true. True. Right. And maybe a few caps popping off every now and then too. So gotta watch that lake. That's kind of old school,
right? Like you just dated yourself.
Hey,
popping caps.
I'm ashamed of it. I'm 60 and smooth, so
you know what I'm saying. You done popped a couple caps in your day. No, just like Pastor Hennessy ain't ever did nothing like that, y'all.
I cannot confirm or deny.
All right, let's keep moving on.
You want to ask a question?
Like, I don't know nothing about what you talking about. No.
I don't know nothing. I know nothing.
I don't know nothing. I don't know nobody. I wasn't there.
I wasn't there. It wasn't me. It was somebody who looked like me.
No light-skinned, blue-eyed man.
Somebody looked like me. That's all I got to say.
You know what I'm saying?
I wonder. Give me the date and time because I tell you what my alibi is. I always have an alibi.
Jesus. And this is my father, y'all. Y'all ever wondered why I am the way that I am? Man, right here. But yes. Okay. Anything else you want to drop? Are you good?
No, was that it? Was that it? The question?
Yeah, that's it.
Did you make the picnic? I mean, did you hear at the picnic when we went around and everybody started introducing their selves?
Mm-mm.
No, you weren't there? Oh, you missed that. All right.
What did you introduce yourself as? I already know it's crazy.
I didn't actually introduce myself last, but I made everybody say that I was their favorite uncle. As we were going around. So
out of pocket. I was say, Auntie Vivian, she not about to.
Vivian wouldn't bite.
Stevie, get out of here.
Yeah. But it was just funny.
I was very upset that I was second favorite to Athena. I was like, wait, hold up. First of all, don't start the conversation like this. Feel disrespected. Who is number one? She's like, your dad. I was like, you know what? We was about to play games. I'm good.
Hey.
Go sit down. I'm tired of him today. I'm tired of you right now. I can't win a game.
Well, I have the Uncle Steve handshake.
What is that?
Yeah, so you're not a niece or nephew, so you don't know about that. The Uncle Steve handshake.
Oh, I know.
Right. Now you know what it is. Right. Come here, shake my hand. Right.
Gotcha.
And don't look in your hand when I'm done.
Gotcha.
Just put it in your pocket, walk away on the under, and nobody knows nothing.
Gotcha. So you bought your fame.
No, I did not buy it. I just know how to win friends and influence people, right?
Hey, that's accurate. That's real accurate. All right. Thank you.
All right.
So thank you very much to all of the guests that came on for the episode. I really, really love and appreciate y'all. And I thought it'd be valuable that I end this episode with also answering the question. This is why I told them not to ask me it back because I was going to do this. And I think that there's two big things that this season of life has taught me. And the first one being discernment and the value in practicing and honing the skill of discernment. I've been noticing that a lot of, just making sure that's on, sweet. I've been noticing that a lot of the things that are coming to pass in my life are things that I've actually spoken into existence. And I know manifesting is like such a buzzword in the world right now because of how commercialized spirituality is, but really looking at my life and looking at the things that I go like, wow, I asked for this, or I really felt into and then spoke out what I wanted around these things and realizing that I have them. A couple examples of like one being my job that I have now. I remember specifically saying, I want to have more time to be able to figure out what I want to do with my life and my skills and my gifting, and to be able to create significantly more, to then give myself the launching pad to know what I want to do next. And I remember being so disappointed because my original intent was to go into DEI and tech, and I wasn't getting any of those jobs. I was being so frustrated. And now having the job I have now, I go like, oh, like I wouldn't have been able to have the amount of time that I have now if I were to have those jobs. And so I actually am getting the exact thing that I had been asking for and said I wanted. And even kind of like where I live now, obviously people know that I moved to Texas. And I remember a year before that even happened, or that thought even came to my mind, I kept writing down and saying, I want to be, when the next time I move, because my lease was obviously going to end, I was like, the next time I move, this is what I want my home to feel like. I want to have space. I want to have the ability to move around a bit more. I remember I specifically wrote down like, I want a bigger kitchen, which is funny because I don't be cooking like that. I'm getting better, but I don't be cooking like that. I remember saying I want a place that feels peaceful. I want something that feels calm. I want something that inspires creativity, because I just genuinely believe that your home really sets up your energy for how your life is going and how you feel, and what energy you're bringing in and out. And so I didn't want a home that didn't feel peaceful, that didn't feel loving or calm, or didn't inspire me in any way. And I remember writing down all the things that I wanted to feel like in my home. And I just knew, I just was like, oh, dang, like, I don't know how this is going to work out, because how the hell am I supposed to afford this in the Bay Area? And then life just like happened, and I randomly, well, I call it random, but it doesn't seem to be random, decided to move here. And I got literally everything I wrote down on that list. Like, I have the space I wanted to have. I have a much bigger kitchen. I have the ability to like decorate exactly how I want to, and just really feel at ease and calm and at peace and inspired creatively really often. And so just the ability to kind of like bring forth certain things. And I wrap this all around to say this about discernment. Wisdom. I think that I know that if you listen to this podcast, you will understand that how much I value wisdom, and how much it is an important part of like the way I move through the world, and what it is that I'm seeking. And a lot of people go like, dang, you be dropping hella gems, you're hella wise and all these things. And I was thinking to myself, like, this is also something I'm realizing I spoke into existence. And everybody knows, I'm a daughter of a pastor. And so I grew up in the church my whole life. And one of the things that I remember, for some reason, like starkly remember from the Bible, was the story about God talking to King Solomon. And King Solomon is known as the wisest king in the like lineage of Israel. And God being like, I will grant you whatever it is that you ask for. And he asked for wisdom as opposed to material things. And God really like favored that and gave him just that. And he's also known as like the wisest king, like I said, in that lineage. And I remember for some reason that stuck out to me. And that's actually something I've been like asking for and like praying for since I was like 8. And I didn't even think about that until the other day when I was having a conversation with somebody, and they spoke to me about like, yeah, you seem like hella wise. And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot from people, but I'm like, I don't know, in my mind, I'm like, I hear fumbling through life like everybody else, which I guess it's even wisdom to know that we all doing that. But I realized like, oh shit, that's something that I like spoke into existence for my life, but also a really strong gifting. And I think it's important to hone your gifts and to be able to dissect them almost in some ways, and understand like how to make your superpower better. And I'm learning in this season of my life that discernment is a very important part of wisdom. It's understanding what is or is not for you, and being able to like navigate and feel into yourself to understand what resonates and what does not, and to not necessarily always judge what does not, but just go, that's not my shit, And I remember having a conversation recently with one of my friends about just public figures in any way. So whether that's entertainment, celebrity, politicians, athletes, whatever people having these large platforms. And the conversation just around like certain speech being dangerous. And I just remember thinking to myself, actions are one thing, so separate that. But is it more dangerous to have certain types of speech operate in the world? Or is it more dangerous to have a large amount of people who lack discernment? And I think a lot of times when we talk about like certain speech being dangerous, we talk about, well, who's going to hear it and how they're going to react to it and all these things. And I kind of just go as the person who's always, all about the whole like self-accountability thing. I go, but you should be able to discern what you do or don't want to take. And that should be a skill that is very valuable to teach. And if nothing else, this is practice for you to discern whether or not it's something valuable to you. And why do we not put more emphasis on the ability to discern than it is to control what is or isn't coming out of somebody's mouth, which we all know we can't do. So I was just really thinking about how I've been practicing discernment a lot more, or more consciously practicing discernment and understanding when information or thoughts come my way, like what is and isn't for me, what does and doesn't resonate. And then also being able to ask myself why, because something may or may not resonate, but I also need to understand why it does or doesn't, and be able to analyze that for myself. And I think some of the all of the spiritual leaders that I invest in some way are people that are first asking you to like get in touch with yourself and all of these things, to like clear programming to actually be aligned with your highest self and to be aligned directly with God, the divine source, whatever you want to call it. And then secondly, they always say after that, anything I say to you, you need to recognize whether or not it resonates with you. And if it does not, you need to leave it. And not leave the community, but like leave what I say and take the things that are useful to you. And there's been this weird thing, I think, especially in the religious space where they go, you can't pick and choose what you want to believe in. And I'm like, why not? Why would we not? Like, I don't have to accept all of anything. I can accept what I feel like genuinely resonates with me and my spirit and my highest self. And practicing how to recognize when something does or doesn't resonate with me, and not confusing being triggered with something that resonates, and how to navigate that space. So that has been a huge lesson I'm learning and actively practicing. And I think the second one would just be belief in yourself and getting a deeper understanding of self, but really a belief in self. I think that when you go into the space of creating, I thought I was, pretty confident. And then you get in here and you're like, dang, there are a lot of days of self-doubt. And that's just, I can speak to my experience. I can't say what everybody else is experiencing, but there are a lot of days where I doubt myself, and I doubt my abilities, and I doubt, does this matter? Do people care? Like all of these things where you then realize like that really shouldn't be where your focus is anyway. But, and there's so much self-doubt that I battle and go back and forth with. And, I just remember thinking to myself, like, I think there's moments where you can think about giving up, and I don't want to say that in some like sad way, but you go like, I know what it's like to have a stable life. I know what it's like to go to a job from 9 to 5, get a check and know when it's coming. But the idea of believing in myself enough to accomplish a dream that seems wildly large, that's a whole different type of believing in yourself, and just how to cultivate that space and have the right people around you to reaffirm you when you need it. And I think that it was so interesting to me back in March, it was Women's History Month. And I remember every single day I posted a woman that I found inspiring in some way. And by the time I got to the end of it, I specifically chose to post a lot of my friends and family members that really inspire me. And it was so interesting because so many of them got back to me or responded and were like, dang, like, I really appreciate that. And like, it's crazy coming from you because I look at you and you're so self-assured and so confident and all these things. And I'm sitting there being like, what? Like, where? And so it's crazy because there are people who present And it's not that I'm saying people are intentionally doing it. I don't intentionally present as being so overly like I have it all together. I think if you listen to my pod, it's really about me saying how much we don't be having shit together, and we all out here figuring this shit out. But there is a lot of ways in which like I move, I guess, that people read as like being very, very confident. And I think this last season of my life specifically has tested my belief in myself in a lot of different areas of my life, in a lot of ways that I've doubted myself, and really just like re-solidifying that, and really taking the time to make sure that like I'm pouring into myself the way I need to, and making sure I'm having the relationships that'll cultivate that as well. Which leads me into this last part, which is like my thank yous, because I would love to say thank you to like a bunch of people but at the end of the season, which is one of the goals I had set forth was to collaborate with some other people during the season, obviously past just the interviews. So I got to do that in a lot of ways, and that was really dope. So I got to be on the podcast for my alma mater, which is Cal Poly. I got to do an interview and do the podcast with Can't Be Trusted podcast. So shout out to you, Sola Dawn. And then obviously Gasita, who partnered with me through like most of the season. And then I moved and the world got crazy. Well, the world was crazy before, but you know what I mean. Then being able to do that. I also want to shout out Janelle from Uplifters. He just like, he took his time out and like met with me, like sat down and had coffee with me multiple times, with like me just working out vision for like what I want to do next and where I want to go, and like areas around the pod now, and like where I want to go with that. And so I just like really appreciate people who are willing to like brainstorm and show up and like help me figure stuff out and connect me to things if I need it. And then obviously my bruvs, Meet the Brave podcast, all three of you amazing human beings who I love so much. Lex, Elle, and Bonnie, I love y'all very much, and I appreciate y'all a lot. Obviously, you guys saw Elle on the show twice, both for the Ego and Programming episode and this episode here. And I just really appreciate it because you said yes, and you shared a lot of yourself. You shared as much as you wanted to. It's so funny. People were like, you pulled that out of him. I was like, Elle knows what the fuck Elle's doing. Like, I ain't bullshit for Elle. Like, Elle knew what he wanted to say, when he wanted to say it, and where he wanted to say it at. I just had to step back and shut up. Like, really. But then you kind of just like connecting me a little bit more with the Meet the Brave podcast, and you guys being like, hey, like make sure y'all listen to her shit. And then them being like, oh damn, this is dope. So I really appreciate you for that. I really appreciate y'all. Lex, that man is amazing. I'm so excited to see all the things you make and produce, because I feel like you're gonna be one of those people that we all of us in Oakland, like, that nigga from Oakland. The Webby's over here looking at Zendaya and stuff. I know she's not doing the same thing, but you get my point. I guess we could have said the Ryan Coogler stuff, whatever. And then Monty, who is like, if you ever need to be encouraged, that's who you go to. And he's only going to encourage good shit. He's not going to bullshit you. But if you ever want to be encouraged, he's all about that. He's really about like, let's drop these egos and really get some shit done and accomplished. And I don't think a lot of people know, but when I was starting the pod and figuring it out, he was the first person that connected me to Spesh, who I love also, shout out to you, who was doing Pod Recognize Pod. And that was a group of people that all had podcasts in the Bay Area, all do have podcasts in the Bay Area, which is also where I met Charmaine, which she's still selling tickets for her showcase, which y'all should go to. But it also had people in there who are sound engineers and just different ways in which you can learn how to start your pod, how to make it better, how to keep growing it, and all of those things. And so he was really at the inception of it, whether or not, I don't know if he remembers this or not, but he was, because I met him like one time at that and then didn't see him again until like season 2. But then also just, there have been a lot of moments where I've been like actively working through self-doubt, and Monty just like, he'll always make you feel like you're dope. And I think to have people believe in you in moments where you're struggling to believe in yourself is extremely valuable. So I want to say thank you to y'all too, because y'all are the homies. And then also to all of y'all, my friends that hit me up and sent me pictures of them like listening to the pod, giving me their opinions on it, sharing it on their Instagram and telling people to listen off of Instagram, like all of these great things. Everyone who was willing to be on the show this season, I am wildly grateful, because people know that, there's a certain level of transparency and vulnerability that I kind of ask of people on this show, and not with an intent of getting into people's business, but it's really the intent of like, let's get down to being human, and let's get down to doing something that's going to serve one another and being human, and talking about our experiences, and to be able to provide any level of insight, but if nothing else, what's the right word? A word that I would use to explain people not having to feel alone and not feeling isolated, because they understand that other people are also going through similar things, and then learning kind of what to do with that. So I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. I have no idea when the next season's coming out. I need to take a little like creative mind break and figure out what I'm doing with that and how that's going to pop around, or how it's going to look, because my initial plan was to have it look very different than what it is, but we shall see. So thank you all so much. Thank you. And as always, be in your power.